Hey guys, Max here, and welcome back to another tutorial slash overview of Lightroom. I use Lightroom all the time, and in today's tutorial, I'm assuming you've never used Lightroom before. You just need to import some photos, quickly edit them, and export them, just to give you some background and just to get started. So, first off, what we have to do is open up Lightroom. So I already have Lightroom open, and once you open it up, assuming that you've used it before, it'll have a library that populates of what you've been editing before. As you can see here, I have a bunch of edits of the mouse video that I just did, where I did a video about using a gaming mouse for editing videos and how awesome the Logitech G502 mouse is. And that's my mouse. No one told me to make that video about it. I just really enjoy using that mouse. But to get started in Lightroom, what you have to do is import your photos. Now, I'm assuming you're using like a DSLR or some kind of camera to take your photos, and there's a memory card associated with that camera, and you've plugged your memory card into your computer. And from there, you can easily import your photos right here by clicking the import button, or you can just drag and drop a folder into Lightroom. And what I'm going to do is open up my Finder, and right here I have a Valentine's Day special folder filled with photos with Jayleen Silver, who is another fashion blogger makeup girl on YouTube. Does a really good job. You should check her out. Other than that, what we can do is drag in these photos right here. And what Lightroom is going to do is it's going to populate the photos, and it's going to be filled with check boxes saying, yes, I want to import these photos. Now you could, uncheck all of your boxes and just check certain photos that you want, or check them all. Whatever you like, it doesn't matter. All you have to do is click import. Now remember, you can easily import these a couple different ways by dragging them in or clicking import down here. Really, really easy. Now once they're all imported, which it's running pretty quickly, up here in the top left of Lightroom, it'll have a little taskbar. It's already done, but you can see where it's loading or doing something like that. We are ready to go. So right now we're in our library mode, which basically shows all of our photos. As you can see over here on the left under Macintosh HD, I can see other libraries where I've imported photos. So right here is 2016-03, or March 3rd, or is that March 5th, excuse me. This is the mouse shoot that I did, the mouse shoot of the Proteus Core. Before this was some headshots of one of my buddies. Before this was some yellow background shots. Here's another shoot that I did, and here's today. A bunch of photos that I did with Miss Jayleen Silver. Alright, so in our library mode, we want to jump over to the develop mode and start editing these photos. What we'll do up here is just click develop. Boom, as soon as we click develop, it pops over to the develop mode, and it puts our photos in a row down below for us to start developing them. Now you can change the way this looks. You can make it smaller by dragging it down like this to see more photos at once. I like to make mine really big just so I can see my thumbnails really easily. And what we're going to do is kind of scroll through until we see a photo we just absolutely love. We just want to edit it really bad. Let's see. Scrolling through. I like this one. This one looks pretty awesome. We can develop this. So, once you're ready to develop a photo, on the right side of Lightroom, there's a bunch of little different options to develop it with. So, right here is your treatment, is your basic, your tone and curve, color, split toning, and detail. Effects, lens correction, stuff like that. What you can do, normally these are already opened up, but what I do is I drop this down, and we can start off with our exposure and contrast and stuff like that, and they're just sliders. So you can brighten up your photo a little bit, boost the contrast. Let's boost the saturation. When I boost the saturation, her skin gets really orange, and we can fix that by changing the temperature of the photo to a nice, or changing it to 4500 Kelvin. We can bring the shadows down, bring the highlights up, and yeah, that's about it. Change the white and blacks just for fun, and boom. Now we can drop down tone and curve. I normally don't touch this kind of stuff for now. Drop down the color. This is pretty neat. So if you can see on her skin down here, her skin looks kind of green or yellow or something. Something's going on. Maybe we can take the green or just take the yellow and desaturate the yellows. Just like that. Change the hue a little bit. So if we undo, Command Z to undo all what we just did, you can see the yellows back, and then go to Edit, Redo, and Edit, Redo. We can see that the yellow in her skin tone is gone, which is good. It's what we wanted. Now what we're going to do is drop down the detail. We can make it a little sharper with the sharpening and take luminance, yeah, luminance, yep, there you go, I'm pronouncing it right. What this does is it softens your photo a little bit, just kind of smooths out her skin a little bit. Maybe we can jump back up into the color and saturate the red a little bit to make her lips pop out a little more. And boom, we have edited this photo. So yes, that is what it looks like after we've edited with the side over here. Really quick, really easy. I like editing photos in Lightroom versus Photoshop because the first pass of my edits, 300 photos from a photo shoot, I can go really fast. So like, if I like what I've done with this photo, I really like the color settings that I've displayed on it right here. We can actually Command C and copy our settings of this over here, and this Command V and paste it onto other photos. So let's say we like the way that looked. We also like this photo, just Command V. Boom, instantly a little better. Maybe we'll bring the exposure up a little more. Really bright. Command C to copy these settings. And right now what's happening is when we edit a photo, it's jumping to the front of the list. And that could be really confusing at first. Command V. Why is it doing that? Really simple fix for this. Jump back to Library, and right now the sorting is set to edit time. Now this might be kind of confusing why they're all jumping to the front. I mean, edit time does help, but right now we're going to set it to capture time. Go back to develop, and now the photos are in order again as we've edited them. So right here, this photo right here looks really good. Command V to paste our settings. Instantly prettier. That's pretty awesome. Let's try this photo right here. This one looks pretty good. Command V to apply our settings. Just a couple different ones. And maybe we'll grab one of these too, like this one right here. Command V just to see what our settings would look like. It improved it some, I think. But what we're going to do is bring down the highlights. Crush the blacks a little bit. Yep, I think that looks good. So now we've edited a couple of our photos and we're ready to export them. What we're going to do is jump back to the library. And this is how I do it. There's tons of different ways to do it, but what I do is I go to Edit Time, which puts the photos that I edited at the top, and then I can just highlight all of them. Then right click, Export, Export. That's how I export photos. There's other ways to do it, like there's an export button right here, but I like to right click and just choose my photos. Now it gives you a couple different options, like export location. What we're going to do is just go to our desktop, click choose, put in a subfolder. We'll call it exports, and then we'll scroll down. It's not a video. Don't worry about file naming because it's all going to be named the same unless you want to change it, of course. You could always rename the file to something else. Custom name of X and Y, etc., etc. It doesn't really matter. And here's your file settings. This is an important setting right here. So right now I got it set to PSD because I want to edit it in Photoshop and I want to retain a lot of quality. You can export a TIFF. It's pretty much a raw file, or JPEGs for Instagram, stuff like that. And I have my JPEGs set to limit file size to 5000K or 5 megabytes. There's no reason to have a 18 megabyte photo in JPEG form, really, unless you're using it for like print, like actually in a magazine. A lot of these photos go to Instagram, stuff like that. So I always limit my file size to 5,000 Kelvin, or 5,000 megabytes, because, or excuse me, 5,000 kilobytes, and which is just 5 megabytes, so I can send them via text message, email, really simple. You could resize your image, crop them all if you wanted to. I'm not worried about that. And then you could also add a watermark where you put in custom watermarks, really simple, really cool. And then you would hit export, and we're ready to go. But one feature I did kind of forget to show you was how to crop photos. I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. I'm going to show you how to do that really quick right now. So this photo right here, the first one, go back to your develop tag, and at the very top, there's a couple different options I didn't go over. Now we're going to go over them. This is the crop tool right here. Then you can set the ratio to 1:1 for like Instagram, and click OK or click done. And now your photo is cropped. It looks kind of off. Move it over a little bit, click done again. It remembers, it doesn't actually delete anything. The photo in the background is still there, but Lightroom is cropping it for you. Here is a spot correction tool. So if we zoom in, let's say she has these tiny little dots on her face we want to get rid of. We can click on this, and it finds another place in the photo to copy pixels from to get rid of the dots. And if you're not happy with what it's copying from, you can always choose a different place and jump around and do that. I never really do this to her photos because there's really no reason. Those are natural indentations on her skin. I always like to leave them. It's who she is, it's not a big deal. This is the red eye remove. There is no red in her eyes, so it's not going to remove anything. But if there was, this would help. Put this around the pupil or around the iris and remove your red eyes. And the last three options I don't really use too much, but feel free to play around and experiment and learn. But jump back to library. I'm ready to export our photos. Remember, right click, export, export. Everything's already set to what it was before. JPEG, file size to 5,000 kilobytes, and we click export. Now, if you like your export settings the way they are, and you want to export another batch, when you click right here, highlight a couple, right click, export, export with previous, it will export it just like you did before with the previous batch. So you don't have to reset your settings. But as you can see at the top left, it's exporting the 6 files to JPEGs. And we're almost done. And the task has been completed. Overall, guys, that's it. This is Lightroom in a nutshell. All I wanted to do today was teach you how to import photos, put them in your library, develop these photos, and then export them out to JPEGs or something like that. I hope what I've showed you today helps you do something cool. Other than that, feel free to like and subscribe to keep up with what I'm working on. Other than that, have a great day, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.